Yes, as I mentioned, myself, Dr. Vadivelan, working as a professor in JSS College of Pharmacy under the Department of Pharmacy. So, coming to the ethics in animal research, what are the topics I am going to discuss today? I'll make a concise. So, we are going to discuss about some introduction, that is how this ethics in animal research evolved, and what is meaning of animal research, and what is 3RS concept, and what are the ethical guidelines followed global and India, and regulatory framework and animal welfare in India, how this CPC guideline has been framed in India, and CPC guidelines. So that is the main topic we have to discuss. That is the ethics for the laboratory animal physics, and then we'll have a summary. So guys, before that I was watching to the previous webinar speaker, Dr. Selvaraj. So moreover, I think some 30 to 40% of the slides, or you can say the guidelines followed in India is same. However, I think the way of presentation may be different. So at the end of the session, so what are the queries you're asking will be answered related with the Indian scenario. So first coming to the animal research. So we call the term as animal testing or animal experimentation. So generally we use in the case of academics and non-academics. In a simple terminology, so animal research or testing means you are utilizing the animal for the purpose. The purpose may be research, testing, experimentation. So the animal while you are using, mainly it will be acting through the behavior or the biological system and comparing with that of the control. The term you call it as in vivo test. The term you call it is a in vivo. So in vivo means where you are using the whole animal. The other one is in vitro, where you go with the cell lines. So here we are discussing what are the ethical guidelines for the animal testing. It's the in vivo testing. So in this, while performing this animal study, what are the ethical guidelines to be followed, either in an industry, in a research institute, or in an education? So that is the image which is being shown. For example, applying cosmetics on a rabbit to test an irritacy test, or how we should handle. So that is the meaning of today's laboratory workshop. How we should handle the animal. So all are important in the research. And if you see the statistics in US right now, which they published, speaking of research, 2020, you see there are various species of the animal. The previous speaker was explaining about the biology, biometeorology, laboratory animals. So normally we call it as rodents and non-rodents. The small laboratory animals, your mouse, rat, guinea pig, and rabbit. If you see overall, you can see the mouse is the most species animal which is being used, and then comes your guinea pigs, rabbits, hamsters, dogs. So all these animals are being widely used. Today you know about the incidence of COVID-19. So can we fight COVID-19 without animal research was the question which has been put. So definitely we check in the animals, whatever the vaccination they're going to be inventing. So it will be tested on the animals first. So definitely the animal research is considered to be one of the important in this global scenario. But for that, we have to follow some ethics and guidelines. So therefore, animal ethics is that examines, it is the human animal relationship. So how we are treating an animal. How we are treating an animal. So we should not be granted that the animal is not speaking. We can speak for the animal and we can sacrifice the animal. So it's not like that. So we have some ethics to be followed while even sacrificing them. So that is a moral relationship, the human animal relationship, and how these animals ought to be treated. So whenever we are speaking about ethics, we cannot say this is good or bad. If it is good or bad, we have to give some justification. And every organization and every nation, they have their own rules. So that should be followed, and which is right or wrong. So they all are called the moral principles of an ethics generally. The regulation, the research, the ethical practices, the code of conduct. So therefore, ethics of animal use, many scientists in many countries, they have given their importance, and an individual country based on their research and academics, they have followed some ethics and guidelines, and that is been following. But however, individual country have their individual guidelines, but we also follow some global guidelines also, as the previous speaker mentioned about the FDA or the OECD. So the human-animal relationship is important. And why this animal testing is important? So normally while you're coming for a drug discovery process, we all know that it takes 50 to 20 years or more amount of money has been spent. So the chronology of preclinical studies, that is from the bench to the clinic. It includes the 5 stages in the drug discovery process. The one is the discovery and development, preclinical research. So that's why I highlighted here the phase where go for animal studies. And then next come the clinical development, and then getting approval from FDA, and then post-marketing. So these are the 5 important phases. So the animal testing is in the second phase. So we will be able to know before filling the investigation new drug, to know the efficacy of the animal after performing an in vitro test and in vivo test, and then to know the mechanism of action, and then the quality control test and the toxicity test. We may be knowing the assay of that, and then the further regulatory process takes place. So therefore, to know the efficacy, mechanism of action, it is to be known. So you call the term it as efficacy, safety, and toxicity. So these 3 things we are going to use the animals. So therefore, in a drug development process, this preclinical research is considered to be important. So the question is asked, why we have to go for animal research? So plenty of answers can be given. So I can put in a simple word, the animal research is for science. The animal research is for science. So definitely the first thing is scientific research, for the significance of the scientific research to upgrade the knowledge, advancement in the environment, or we can say a prolongation of life. So definitely in scientific research is the first important thing. And if you're coming to the academic, nowadays in schools also, they have been used as a model to study the human anatomy, either in a different form. We may not be using a live form, in a different form. And model to study the disease also, to develop medical treatments and to determine the toxicity of medications and to check the safety of the products, as I said. And another most important, for whom it is going to benefit of the safety, is for the human. Yes, first, not only for human, for the animal also, because we may not repeat the same with another animal. One we have been invented, and definitely it's going to protect the global environment. So that is, there is a need for the animal research. And coming to the history of animal research, so this animal research is just not carried right now. It is carried in 500 BC. As the previous speaker was saying about the vivarium, term is vivisection. So previously they thought that they will be performing this vivisection, that is a surgical procedure, directly in the human. And that animal should not be performed because they are not having their sensation at all. So, but there were a lot of discussions. You see, normally the physicians, they do not agree for an animal studies in those days. It was like Aristotle, Hippocrates, Aristaeus, and one scientist is Theophrastus. What he said, he disagreed for the objection to the vivisection in animals. But however, these animal studies were being used for the discovery for the function of living organisms. So he is the first person where he was able to utilize that. Okay. And you see there is an image which is being shown where painted, it is a dog in a vivisection was carried in 1832 itself. That time they were not using some ethics. They thought that it is having the advantage. And then it's coming to the history of animal research. So there are so many stories behind. In 130 to 200 AD, the Roman physician philosopher Galen, he started with the animal vivisection. and he developed the theories in physiology and pathology and also for the pharmacology. And if you see 1596 to 1650, the French philosopher René Descartes, automata, he said animals do not feel pain. So that he said the animals can be used for the studies. And if you see William Harvey in 1578 to 1657, so previously they discovered that the circulation was taking in the lungs. So he said, no, that circulation is taking in heart, not the lungs, which is being circulated throughout the body. So like that, the animal testing was being used throughout 18th century and 19th century. And the scientist called Claude Bernard, you can see in his introduction to the study of experimental medicine, he introduced the ethical benefits of using the animal, what we are following now. So because vivisection cannot be taken as such, we have to follow some ethics because it is a cruelty to animals. So after that, only committee has been framed in different countries due to various issues. And if you see Queen Victoria, they had a Great Britain campaign for the Cruelty to the Animals Act in 1876. And next, Ivan Pavlov in 1849 to 1936, the demonstrated the conditional reflex of training dogs. So whenever the salivation is been increased, feeling the hungry nature. So this can be done by knowing the number of salivary drops. And then, nine, the principles of human electrical experimental technique. In such a case, we have to consider. So that was these are 3 hours. First one is here. Replacement, extraction, refinement. So now we are having the center, PRS. Okay, National Center, PRS, where they have number of that. of control and supervision of distribution of animals. And CAN, that is the community of animal research and ethics. And other guidelines for CAN is policies and policy. NACLAC, National Advisory Committee for the Laboratory Animal Research in the Board, and APA, the American Psychological Association, and NHMOS, that is National Health and Medical Association. And like this, there are various committees where opinions is varied. So let us discuss about the CPC guidelines where the previous author was carrying information. So how these CPC guidelines evolved? To see, first one, we have to know about the PCA Act 1960. That is the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. It was amended and the CPCA was not very broad years back. It was established in 1964. Now, 1964. So it was a decade politics. Once again, it has now often existed after some 30 years. So 1998, it has amended once again to the different year. Then 1972, the Wildlife Protection Act, and 1992, NISA, is the National Indian National Science Center, guideline for care of use of methods, research, device. So like this, they have some guidelines, but in 1998, present government, okay, that time, they brought some actions and they wanted a rules called breeding of and expansion of controlled whether it was some solution carried for investigative or measuring accuracy. First is CPC approach, then the setup of the lab as per the standards of the food laboratory standards. The set of the lab based upon the study what we are performing on the mites. So here also, as I told, just to explain the background and the aim of the CPCSA. As I told in 1916, 1982, what is their main aim is to prevent the infection of unnecessary pain. The main motto of CPCSA is unnecessary pain and suffering stop. And the same thing the CPCSA also following. Not subjected to unnecessary pain and suffering in three places: before the experiment, during the experiment, and after the performance of the experiment. So before, during, after to be considered. That's what CPC is saying. Then they brought the rules, what I said, for control and supervision, breeding of and experimental animals. So some laboratory animals, they get a license for animal for research and academic, one. Second one for breeding. That means they no need to purchase the animals from outside, they can breed by themselves. The rule says that to eliminate the potential for conflict, it was considered necessary to examine the international norms regarding the use of animals also. And always we update the regulations, streamline and simplify the procedures while ensuring the ethical use of animals. So always nowadays you know that whenever you are not updating, including me or including anybody, updating the knowledge in the present scenario, then we will not be competent to others. So everywhere the rules and regulations have been updated. So whenever you are seeing a regulation, see whether it is an updated version. It's important. Ultimately, the aim of this guideline is to ensure human and ethical treatment of animals. How ethically we are treated. So what are the functions of the CPCSA? Just I want to highlight it. One is, first thing is registration of the establishment conducting animal experiments. So, and breeding. Anywhere the animal studies carried, nowadays you know that they're asking the approval number. The registration is a must. That is done by CPCSA, you have to apply. And they appoint the nominees for the IAEST. So your individual institution might be having a committee where the nominees are appointed by the CPCSA. It consists of 8 to 10 members. The 3 members are appointed from the main Delhi city service. The other members are being recommended from the institute to the CPC office. Approval of animal facilities on the basis of reports of inspections. Permission to conduct experiments. Recommendation of import of animals. So some animals such as beagle dogs and all are being imported only. And action against the establishment in case of violation. So some of the animals, when they are not following as per the ethics, actions are taken by them after some stipulation time, and they have cancelled their approval also. And coming to the 5 ethical principles adopted by CPCSA for use of animals in experiments. So whenever you are going by protocol, the first 5 things to be considered, 5 principles. So the first one, they say experiment on animals. Whenever you are performing any experiment on animals, any operations, we should know what is the goal. Whether the purpose of advancement by a new discovery of physical knowledge, or whether it is going to save or prolong the life of human, or combating any disease, or for human beings, animals, or plants. If it is having any beneficial only, we have to do the experiments on animals. So that is the principle 1. So that's what I have shown. See whether it is having benefit for the society, human life, disease, or any new discovery process. Second one, I have already mentioned the animals on the phylogenetic scale, lowest, which is TX. I told you the previous, I have shown some animal and some vegetables, sentience, non-sentience. While you are using animals also, we have to start from the invertebrates, then to the vertebrates. We have to, nowadays, you know, most of the things we are going with the Drosophila, zebrafish, and then frog and all have been stopped. Then we go with the mouse, rat, the rodents we call it as here, see. we are seeing whether any alternatives there are not, then we can go with this. That is the lowest phylogenetic scale, the second principle. The third principle says that proper use of animals in experiments and avoidance of elimination of pain and suffering. That means they say whenever we are using the animals for the study, to see whether it is not inflicted pain and distress. If pain and distress are happening, then you try to use some chemicals such as sedation, analgesia, and anesthesia to reduce those distress and pain. That is the important proper use of animals in experiments and avoidance or elimination of pain and suffering in experimental animals. Fourth one is the person who is engaged in the animal study or the responsibility should have a moral responsibility for the use of animals before, during, and after, and you should be able to know when to use the euthanasia and when not. You should provide when not. The fourth observation that that should be expertise for the performance over imagine the animal is not considered. For example, you take sheep. For the production of that sheep, they used to collect the serum. So after what happened, that animal could not be used. So there are different rehabilitations needed where they have to pay money for that and they will maintain the certificate. The records will also be maintained for it. So these are the different methods. This is the method to use inhalation of combination chamber. This will be a physical method. Either during the anesthesia. Principle 5. The living condition of the animal should be appropriate for the species and quantity to the different animal species have all animal species have different characteristics and the living condition of the animal species are different. So that should be made for example that we can say a rat is very different but a mouse and rat is very different. Cages, I will use sugar cages but a monkey should be for example we are going to keep dogs in suitable cages. So like that it should be. So these are the 5 principles I just brought as a summary. It's essential for any person to know it if you have learned this in the CENS. Principle 1 says experiment on animals, maintain when to use. 2. The animals lowest on the phylogenetic scale, invertebrates and vertebrates. 3. The proper use of animals and avoidance or elimination of pain and suffering. We have to use the sedation, analgesia, anesthesia. 3. 4. Moral principles that we should use the proper euthanasia of the animal and living condition of the animal for the health and performance. So that is the 5 technical principles of operating species. So whenever we are going for the approval of protocol, so I mean nominee also this. So we will see these 5 principles are being incorporated right before. And then next comes what are the guidelines? As the previous speaker has mentioned, these are the various guidelines starting from the goals to the transport of animals. So let us discuss in simple summary words. Anything is there, we can discuss in details. The goal, so always looking at the slide with the indicator, how animals are going to be treated. Greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. So it is the basic goal is to promote the humane care of animals and the objective is for the advance in conserving the nature. This is the third principle. So humane care housing, as I said, this is for a small cage. For a mouse or a rat, it may be adequate ventilation, meet the biological need of animal, keep the animal dry and clean. We will facilitate the research while maintaining good health for animals. Cages made of steel or painted sheets. Always see that it is not hard, that it will not affect the animals. And we will be water bottle where it can be easily accessible for filling, changing, and cleaning. So food, it should be a palatable, non-contaminated food. Normally we give in the form of a pellet or a mouse and rat, or a rabbit or guinea pig. Some vegetables weekly once may be given. So it should be free from the heavy metals and kept clean. Coming to the environment, so this is the digital setup here. We can keep in a lab. Always you prefer go with the air conditioning. That is important. The facilities like Ooty climate and all, we do not maintain it. It is not needed. Otherwise, air conditioning is important. See that the sound should not disturb the animal also. And normally the temperature should be 66.4 to 80.4 degree Fahrenheit. The humidity for the animals, it may vary some 10 to 20 percentage. So that the 70, and power and lighting should also be available at all the time. When needed, you have to use the 24 hours facility. Noise control, that is very, very important. It should be away from the kitchen. And this should be recorded. Bedding, it is based upon your facility and the finance. Normally for purpose, we go with the paddy husk, free of toxic chemical, and it should be sterilized before use. But whenever you're going for higher research, they go with different types of bedding material. It is costly also. So some care that you can say the wood chips, you call wood chips, where at least twice or thrice in a day it should be sterilized and it should be used if needed. And it is disposable by incineration. Nowadays we are not following the incineration technique. We are going for the biomedical waste disposal, where from the municipality they used to come and collect it. We are using different types of buckets. So normally when you're going for a hospital, we might be seeing. Same like that in animal house also it can be planned. So water, it should be fresh, potable, uncontaminated. So these are the different size of water bottle. So here, with the help of the tongue, if the animal moves, then only the water drops. Otherwise, the water will not. So this is the waste disposal I was saying to you. Nowadays, we are not using this incineration due to the pollution. And we are using this biomedical waste management system. Black, red, blue, green, yellow, punch-proof cans. So from the municipality, we have to get a license approved for it. They'll come and collect the things. Pest control, so you know that the other things also will come and affect to the animals, the other environment. So we have to have some program in having control of these things. On an emergency weekend and holiday, we know that there is no holiday for animal house. Always an emergency and care should be given. So care should be taken for the animals to safeguard it. Record copying, as I told you, different types of record should be maintained in the animal house, and the archive should be also maintained. For everything, we should create evidence and keep it. House plan, staff record, animal record, SOPs, sales record, minutes of the IEC meeting. See, nowadays, they made mandatory, we have to conduct at least 2 meetings. So for those meetings also, we should be able to maintain it. And record of experimentals conducted, death record, water analysis report. So while coming for inspection, they used to check all these records. SOPs, I think we all know that whatever we are performing any experiment, maintenance, we should have our own SOP. Why, who, what, how, when. So some details have been given. Who is the author, who prepared it, date of preparation, what is the protocol or procedure, if it is a equipment, how it should be used. And normally we see animal house, the normal value of animal house parameters will be posted and kept. So animal care and technical person, that is the person who is working in an animal house, other than a veterinarian, he should be trained with the laboratory animal. Previously it was mentioned if he is a 10th standard and he should undergo a 15 days course. Now the CPC guideline has framed the syllabus where some CFTRI Mysore, NIN Hyderabad, they call for this type of course yearly, twice or thrice. So 15 days course, the person can go and learn all the techniques, how to handle the animals, how to maintain the animal. So it will be useful for that. That is called animal care and technical person. Transport of laboratory animals, mainly the three things we know how it has been transported by container, animal density, food and water transit, and protection from transit infection, injuries, and stress. So while transporting also, these things, the care should be taken. The density, number of animals, food and water, and protection from other infections. So that is the thing which have been shown here. It should be brought in a separate cages. And where we are able to keep the feed, everything, it should be maintained. Whenever we are bringing from a large distance, the feed, the water should be provided with a proper appropriate cages, which is given in Annexure 4, which have been discussed. If you see in the JPC guidelines for animal house facility, there are some 8 annexures. So whatever I have discussed, we have to follow this. So annexure 1 is about the hematological data of common laboratory animals. I told you in that slide, isolation, separation, quarantine, to know the microbial status. So we should know this hematological data, biochemical data, whether it's within the range. And 3A to 3G, it's related with the floor requirement for laboratory animal, how much mice can be kept, how much rat can be kept, the other species. So it is the floor space area kept with the cage height, because based upon the size of the animal, the cage length and breadth may vary. Some specifications are given as guidelines. And Annexure 4 is about the transport of laboratory animals, how many animals can be carried, how far it is being carried. 5 is the anesthetic agents for the laboratory animals. As I told you, some anesthesia is mentioned. Then 6th is euthanasia. 7th is that animal care personnel test and the qualification. 8th is the IBSC committee. So whenever we are involving the hazardous agents, at that time we have to go with the IBC. So all these annexures have been taken as per the international standards and norms. They have referred it from the other guidelines and they frame annexures. So we should know how many annexures. We are having 8 annexures. So these are the annexures. So I'm not going to learn all these slides. I think based on our interest, I highlighted annexure 2, annexure 3, annexure 4. So these are the annexures. So I think we should have a basic understanding before we learn this annexure, what type of animal we are using. Then we can go for the annexures. So that is about my presentations. And then I would like to conclude. The following the ethics is very important. However, there are various pros and cons. By properly justifying it and need and the benefits to the public and the animal and the environment should be considered.